You can see the Flex Seal didn't hold up. So I was able to remove all of this stuff here with just my hands. I just grabbed an edge, kind of like this, and then pulled at it, and it would come off like that. So I've gotten a bunch of that off that way. Now I'm using just a 2-inch knife, paint scraper, and it works a little bit better when I've got two hands, so I can put downward pressure in, but it's peeling off pretty easily. I was a little bit worried about how this was going to come off, and so far, so good. So I'll be back when this is all off of here. So before I get this all the way off, you can kind of see here, they sprayed it with the black Flex Seal first, and then they did another coat of white over top of it. You can see they tried to tape it to keep it there, but they oversprayed anyway. So I'm trying to get, you can see a little bit better on this side. I was able to get most of the overspray off of here. There's still a little bit that I'm just trying to scrape off. I obviously don't want to scrape off any of the plastic for the kayak, but it looks to me like what happened was somebody dropped the kayak, which caused a blunt force action here, because you can see right here. Obviously, it had been dragged on this previous. There's drag marks, but then I think it also got dropped on, and that's what caused this crack here. So I knew all this when I bought it. I'm not mad at the guy. I'm totally cool with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish getting this cleaned up, and then we'll see about plastic welding it. Okay, so to plastic weld this, I'm using the Harbor Freight 80-watt welding kit. I want to say it was like 15, 16 bucks at Harbor Freight, obviously. So it's the Chicago Electric, but it's Harbor Freight. I've got it sitting here warming up. I'm going to use, so it comes with these black pieces of plastic to weld in there. I think I'm going to use, I bought at the same time, I bought these, and they're cylindrical. I think I'm going to use this first because I want to be able to get it down in there, so I want the finer tip. That's what I'm going to start with anyway. And I think what I'm going to do is you can kind of see where, I don't know if there's a hole here, there might be, but it's definitely creased. So I'm going to start here, and then I'll come and work along this hole, and we'll see how it goes.
How expensive was it?
Like 15 bucks. Well, for my first time, I think that went pretty well. It's mostly cooled off. It's still pretty warm, but it's mostly cooled off. But it's not nearly, ow, that's hot, as flexible as it was before. So I put down the cylindrical ones first, and then I wanted to try this. This seems like it's a little bit more flexible. So if I show you, this almost seems like vinyl. It's just bendy. Whereas this, I guess it's still got some bend to it, but it seems more rigid. So I used one hole of the green cylindrical rods, and I used a little less than half, or yeah, a little less than half on this. And then I did a little spot up front because there was a little gouge in it, and I didn't want it to become something. So right here. And I can sand that down and make it look a little bit better. But honestly, if you guys have watched the channel at all, you know I'm not so worried about how it looks as long as it works well. So I think I'm gonna go cut a piece off of a 55-gallon drum I've got a white one. I think I'm gonna measure a piece for here to cut and put from here, like across here down to here, and have that be the skid plate. I'll probably put this back on. I took it off. There was only one screw in it, so I'll probably try to find a matching screw for it to put this back on. But this is what they give you for like a skid plate. How woefully inadequate. But if I measure this, I'm gonna unplug the plastic welder, and then I think I've told you guys I want to cut a piece that goes from about right here to about right here, and maybe about that wide, and weld that on as well, because you can see, you know, it's been dragged, and while it's still plenty sturdy there, I don't want to end up with a problem like we did back here. So maybe let's go look for a piece and see if we can cut it off quick. Okay guys, so the baby woke up right after the last video clip I showed. So this is later this evening. See that gouge right there out of my 55-gallon drum? That's what I'm going to use as my mending material. I'm gonna grab my heat resistant gloves that I use for grilling. We're gonna go barbecue some kayak. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I cut that piece out, and then I cut that into two smaller pieces. An almost square piece for the back. It's like 5.5 by 7 maybe. This one right here. This is gonna go in the back where I mended it. And then I'm gonna put this on the front because it's starting to get a little bit worn down. And what I'm gonna do, I need to re-season my flat top. That cover is not waterproof apparently. I'm going to go ahead and take this tin foil, I'm gonna set it down on the grill, and I'm gonna put the pieces of HDPE on there to get soft and kind of melt a little bit. And then I'm gonna use the hot gloves and the foil to transfer it over to the kayak, where I will have already used a heat gun to kind of heat that up and kind of prepare it to accept that. And then I'll go ahead and put it over and see how it goes. I've got the heat on about medium right now because I don't want it to like scorch it. I just want it to melt it. So I'm gonna come back and check that in a second. Let's go grab the heat gun and heat this up. That's really hot. That's super duper hot. Hot, hot, hot. Hot. Hmm. Shoot. Hey guys, it is the next day. So yesterday evening when I got going on this, it was getting to be darker and later, and I needed to go run an errand for my wife. So I was trying to get it done. It was a horrible, epic fail. So this is what it looks like now. Let me show you. This is what the piece of barrel looks like. You can see the edges are curled over like that, and there's a little bit of the green plastic in here that it pulled off. So I put that on yesterday, and I used the heat gloves, and I kind of pushed it down on here a little bit, and it must have had enough heat in that piece that it kind of pushed this plastic down. You can see how it's down now instead of going like that. I don't think it's gonna be a big issue, but the problem was I poured some water over it to try to cool it, and the foil would not remove from it. You can see the foil still, even after it's totally cooled, the foil's still pretty well stuck to it. So I was like, this isn't going well. I'm gonna take it off. Took it off. Let me turn the camera around and show you. Pulled it off, and there's a little hole here, and a little hole here, and a little hole here. So I quickly grabbed the plastic welder, and I welded everything back up. I gotta sand it off and then probably put another coat of plastic weld on, but it's good and solid now. And actually the soft part was right here, is actually pretty solid now as well. And because it's concave like this, when I put the little skid plate here, this shouldn't get dragged on. But I was gonna do that strip on the front over here. Let's go over to the grill and I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, same deal here. The aluminum is not very easily, oh, it's actually coming off okay right now, but not very easily coming off. You can see it's kind of stuck on there. And when I set this piece on here, it was the other way. It was bowed this way instead of that way. I don't know if this is just so thick that it was holding enough heat. So I don't know. I saw other people do it with 55-gallon drum pieces and 5-gallon bucket pieces. I will probably try again at some point with 5-gallon bucket piece. But for now, I'm just going to make sure that this is totally good and waterproof with the plastic welder. And then I'll do that at some point in the future because I don't want to mess it too much. I think what I'll probably do is once I get this sanded and put another layer on, I will bring the hose over, flip the kayak over, put some water in it, and make sure that there's no water dripping out of here. Make sure everything's watertight. But for now, plastic welding good, epic fail on using the 55-gallon drum. Try to figure out what I did wrong. I don't know if it was just too thick a piece, but yeah, it didn't go well. If you know what I did wrong, tell me in the comments, please. I'm always willing to learn. But thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment, click the thumbs up, click on the subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.